Hi, so this is the video of King Senwosret II's pyramid at El Lhun. The king ruled Egypt from 1897 BCE to 1878 BCE, approximately for 16 years. Now, he inherited a kingdom that had been stable for around about 100 years. His father, his grandfather, and his great-grandfather all had long reigns. So he had a very stable, reformed country to govern. He chose to move his capital from Tawi to El Lhun. And I think it was most probably because he wanted to oversee his pyramid building at El Lhun. Now, if we have a look at the pyramid plan, you have the main pyramid, you have a queen's pyramid, and then you have lots of mastaba. All of those mastaba have been hewn out of the natural bedrock. Then the descending passageways were hewn out, and if you have a look, you've got various shafts coming down on the inside of the pyramid. It leads to the first chamber and then the burial chamber. So he put in a device here, a bit like in Indiana Jones, a dummy tomb, which would probably give him a degree of security. We saw it with his predecessor, King Amenet the first. He had his main tomb and then another chamber underneath his burial chamber. So maybe he was buried there. The importance of this site is obviously it's the king's burial, but he didn't build it in stone. He built it in mud bricks, and then it was lined on the outside with white Tura limestone. Well, unfortunately, a king in the 19th dynasty, Ramesses II, stripped off that Tura limestone and used it for other projects. And that might have been why the Valley Temple is no longer visible, or the causeway. Maybe Ramesses II reused those stones as well. The causeway and the Valley Temple have never been excavated. So what we're left with is the mortuary temple. And the mortuary temple is important for the mortuary cult to be installed, and their job is to provide offerings to feed the king's spirit. So this king passes through the duat, which is at Abydos, goes to the afterlife, and then returns back to his pyramid. This is his mansion of eternity, where his spirit is going to live during the hours of daytime. Why is that? Well, it's simply because in the Egyptian world, they think the world is flat, is a primeval mound, and it's got the sky, it's got the stars, and beyond, it's got the underworld, and it's got deeper than the underworld. But they don't know the world is round. Okay? So the mortuary cult was very important. A queen's pyramid for his chief wife, and then lots of mastaba. Now, the person who did the excavation at this pyramid was William Matthews Flanders Petrie, and he wasn't alone. His wife, Hilda, was also a very highly accomplished archaeologist. Well, when Petrie got here, he was funding his excavations through the British School of Archaeology in Egypt, something which his wife Hilda created, and she would fundraise. And she was fundraising with universities and museums. So if you wanted a box of objects, you had to donate £10. If a university wanted something else, it was £30. Or for something special, it was £60. So a lot of the collections which are in Britain today were funded by museums and universities, and they paid very little for what they're actually worth for the academic information that's been given. So if we have a look at the mastaba of these princesses, some really beautiful jewellery was found by Petrie, and that's now in the Petrie Museum, which is at University College London. He had with him a doctor called Amsden, and he gave Amsden a box of objects for each year that he attended the excavation. And those objects are in the Bexhill Museum. Now, a lot of the objects came from the pyramid town of Kahun. So there was a pyramid town set up to build the pyramid. And remember, he's moved his capital here. So he's got a mud brick palace somewhere in the desert. Maybe it still needs to be excavated. And the workers there give us lots of information. If we have a look at their objects, remember this is the Bronze Age now, we're in the Bronze Age, and the copper is coming from the island of Cyprus, and the tin is coming from Cornwall in Britain. So it's the Phoenicians who are the movers and shakers of the ancient world, transporting those goods into Egypt. But the local population are still using flints as a sharp cutting edge, and they're mounted on wooden sleeths, etc., or they're used as scrapers directly. So these objects that you can see came from the pyramid town of Kahun. Now, the white clay, which you only get from Lower Egypt, is the fine white marl clay. And that's very easy to use. It's got less stones in for the potters to have to sieve through, and it was highly treasured. In the pyramid town of Kahun, they've got lots of these different ceramics, along with common red clay ceramics as well. But they've got rings, they've got jewellery. So the average ancient Egyptian is becoming quite wealthy. They've got small Ushabti figures for burial. So somebody has got a workshop making items for people to buy for their burial. Small models of dishes, rather than you having to buy a whole dish, which would have been quite expensive. You could buy a model of a dish and have that placed in your burial. So getting lots of information. And this town succeeded past the 12th dynasty and the New Kingdom and the Third Intermediate period, right the way up into the Greek period, because a piece of papyrus found there is written in Greek, and it's an account of what is owed between two ancient Greeks who are living in Egypt, and one is saying, you owe me this, don't forget, and I want this money on a certain date. That's what this piece of papyrus says, and it was found at Kahun. So that's evidence that that town survived as a town after the king was buried in this pyramid. This pyramid is now open. Wow, how exciting. First time I went there, which was 35 years ago, it was full of sand. It was forbidden to dig out the sand to go into those descending passageways and to see that wonderful tomb and all the corridors, but now you can. It's officially been open to the public. I would love to go back to Lhun and make a video which you can download onto your phone. It would only be possible if you help me by first press subscribe. Okay, that's not going to cost you anything, but B, if you go to my GoFundMe page and make a small donation of say £3, and that would help towards the costs of going to Egypt to make a video at this pyramid site, which you can download onto your phone. The intention, of course, is to make the same video in Arabic, so Egyptians in Egypt can download these video tours onto their phones as well, and it'll help them to interact with their own past. I hope this has been informative and enjoyable, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.